Are you under age 59 and a half but should be doing Roth conversions? Well, how do you cover the taxes? How do you withhold for the taxes doing a Roth conversion when under 59 and a half? That and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Love the Roth conversion if it makes sense in your financial life. Got to look at your cash flow, got to look at your tax picture, got to look at your investment picture, got to look at your retirement picture and your estate plan. So clearly 5 out of the 6 areas you've got to look at, 5 out of the 6 areas of your comprehensive financial life, they overlap. And you've got to look at least those 5, if not the 6th as well, which is protection planning, so IRMA and those sorts of things you might need to consider as well. And yeah, Roth conversions make a lot of sense for a lot of people. And here's the issue. Roth conversion, just laying the foundation, it's where you've previously contributed pre-tax to your to your IRA or to your 401k. And if your income is low or you think you're going to be in a higher tax bracket in the future, or taxes are going to go up in the future, or there's a few different circumstances where you might say, okay, I've got these pre-tax dollars that I actually want to pay tax on now in this year and have them now on the Roth side so they grow tax-free forever. That is a Roth conversion. There's no minimum, there's no maximum, but it is a taxable event. So as you shift, if you've got $100,000 in your IRA and you want to do a Roth conversion of $15,000, then you do a Roth conversion shifting $15,000 from your IRA into your Roth IRA. And that means $15,000 lands on your tax return for that year. And just again, because I get these questions, okay, but in this scenario, you had a $100,000 IRA. Do you need to do all $100,000? No, but you could do the full $100,000. It would all be taxable in that year. So here's the thing, that's taxable. So how do you cover the taxes? Well, you could withhold on this Roth conversion. And if you're doing this by yourself, that's going to be an option. And you might say, oh, well, this is going to be taxable, so I'm going to withhold. Let's go back to that scenario of $15,000. If you're under age 59 and a half, you take $15,000 out of your IRA for a Roth conversion. If you withhold $3,000 and send it to Uncle Sam and only $12,000 shows up in your IRA, that $3,000 didn't land in your Roth. And therefore, that was a withdrawal. And not only is taxable, it's also penalized as an early withdrawal. So when you're doing a Roth conversion and you're not yet age 59 and a half, you need to be careful about, well, how do I cover the taxes? Because simply withholding the taxes can force you to pay a penalty. So I've got 3 ways for you to cover the taxes of a Roth conversion when you're under age 59 and a half. The first one is my favorite, and that is using an existing tax refund or a predicted or expected tax refund to cover the taxes. Now, of course, this requires some proactive planning. You've got to do a Roth conversion within the calendar year. So you don't know what your refund's going to be just yet. Used to be that you could make some changes after the beginning of the year. No. It's got to be, for a Roth conversion to be effective in 2024, you've got to do it between 1/1 of 24 and 12/31 of 24. You don't know what your refund is. But if you've got, the most common scenario is if you've got a few young kids and you're going to get the child tax credit, which is $2,000 per child younger than age 17, and as long as your income isn't above certain thresholds. So say we've got 3 kids. So say you're in my situation and you've got income and you're withholding on that income, from your job, all that sorts of stuff. And so maybe in a normal scenario, you might get a small refund, $800, $1,000, because that's how the withholding tables work if you've got the right exemptions. But then each of these kids represents a $2,000 federal tax credit, and therefore, instead of getting $800 back, you're getting about $7,000 back, $7,800 back. And you do that a couple of times, and it feels good, right? It's an extra little bonus and so on, but you want to plan for those dollars. So if you're in that situation or something similar where, yeah, you know what, just based on how withholdings are or the circumstances that you get a big bonus every year and you can't control the withholdings on it, they just withhold a lot and so you get this refund every year, maybe that is an opportunity for you to say, okay, I know, I'm going to do a Roth conversion because it makes sense in your situation if you've worked with your CFP. And, based on the amount of conversion I was going to do, it's going to cost about $4,000 of tax. Well, my refund's usually $5,000, so I just won't withhold on this Roth conversion. It will create a tax, but it will basically just eat up my refund or use up a lot of my refund. You've got to be planning ahead. So doing this tax projection or multi-year tax projection, as we do for our clients, will help you have visibility on this and plan through it. But using a consistent existing refund to help cover the tax withholding, that's my favorite choice. Why? Because there's no cash out of pocket. Yes, it is in theory, but not really. It doesn't impact your budget or your cash. And then second, you get the full $15,000 or whatever your Roth conversion is into that Roth, and you avoid needing to withhold and have that penalty. Second thing that you could do to cover the taxes on a Roth conversion when you're not age 59 and a half yet is you could be aware of this and increase your withholdings along the way. So here we are, I'm recording this in middle of April. You could say, you know what, circumstances are, I'm going to do a Roth conversion this year. I know it. Or I just did one, but we've got most of the year left. So let me go out and fill out a new W-4 or go to my payroll or HR team member and increase my withholdings enough to cover the tax on this Roth conversion. And you might be able to do that by when you fill out your exemptions, you can ask for an additional amount to be withheld. Now that's per paycheck. So you might look and say, well, if I did a Roth conversion of $15,000, it's going to create about $3,000 of tax, and I'm just ballparking there. And therefore, I've got 15 more paychecks left for the rest of the year, so I want to withhold an extra, few $100 every paycheck to help cover the taxes on that. That way, you show up, you get your taxes done, your income has stayed the same, your withholdings have gone up significantly, but plus this other source of income of Roth conversion lands in your return, and everything washes out even Steven. Again, I don't know how you do that without proper planning, doing the math, doing that multi-year or single-year tax projection. Work with your CFP on that, but that's another way of increasing your withholdings, your tax withholdings, to cover the tax. And then finally, third option or a third way to cover the tax if you're doing a Roth conversion before age 59 and a half, and this one I would say is the most common, and that is you could do a tax estimate. Well, wait a second. Isn't the second item that I said, increase your withholdings, isn't that the same thing? Increasing withholdings or paying an estimate, isn't that the same thing? It's not. Yes, it is still payments into the IRS in advance of you filing a tax return. But if you're doing quarterly taxes, if you're going to pay an estimate, the IRS says you need to pay that estimate timely when the income's due, or quarterly, or really both. And I butchered it a little bit there, but if you're not planning on doing Roth conversions every quarter, or you're not planning to do a tax estimate every single quarter because you just did one Roth conversion, that's why you'd want to do withholdings, because the IRS says, well, we don't care when you do the withholding. You can do it all at the end of the year, all at the beginning of the year. It doesn't matter. There's no set schedule. So that's why I mentioned the reason number 2. But number 3 is you could do an estimate, but the trick is align that estimate with the quarter that you did the Roth conversion. Otherwise, there could be penalties for you not paying enough or not paying every single quarter. So just had this circumstance a couple of years ago. Individual, his father lived a long, fantastic life, passed away in his 90s, and it was emotional. It was hard for this person, but he inherited a couple $100,000, and it was in a brokerage account. So it got a step up in cost basis, and now this couple $100,000 is not in an IRA, an inherited IRA. It's just accessible to him. And what we did is started doing some Roth conversions, and out of that brokerage account, in the quarter that he did the Roth conversion, we calculated what the tax is, and he would use money from that inheritance and pay an estimate in that same quarter. So if we did it in November, he would do a fourth quarter estimate in November, or by actually January 15 of the following year. So the third way that you can cover the tax on a Roth conversion if you're under age 59 and a half is basically use cash from somewhere else, bank account, investment account, something like that, and do a quarterly estimate in the quarter that you do the Roth conversion. Are those the only way? No, there's more than those 3, but those are some of the most common. But the big point is, if you're under age 59 and a half, you might need to do a Roth conversion. You might Maybe you should be doing a Roth conversion, but what's holding you back is figuring out, well, how do I cover the taxes? Those are 3 ways. There's more. Work with your CFP on that. See if you should be doing Roth conversions, how to handle the taxes and the tax withholdings on that. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go on and take your next wise step in your financial life.